Since graduating high school, aside from college breaks, I've never lived close enough to my family to stop by for dinner or a quick visit after work. For some years, it was over a 2-hour drive. Now I'm thankful for a 1-hour drive, except during rush hour or a random Saturday afternoon, I guess. Boston traffic's unpredictable. I have cousins all over the country and a brother on the complete other coast. And another brother who used to be on the other coast, but is now about 4 to 5 hours away. But it could be worse, and we've made it work. Because of the distance, I was never able to participate in my aunt's yoga classes, but since the pandemic, I've had the delight in participating virtually. She recently started a private group where she shares daily muses and enlightening thoughts, and just the other day she shared this gem. I love the combination of sweet potatoes and apples. As I was cutting them and arranging them on the baking sheet, I was thinking how important the consciousness of the cook is. In Ayurveda, the consciousness of the cook is very important. The cook infuses her love and energy into the food. That love and energy in the food gets processed by whoever has the opportunity to eat that delicious meal. What is your favorite meal to make? Can you infuse even more love into that meal during the whole preparation process? Like many other things she has said, this really struck me. A seed was planted, and 2 days later I found myself preparing to cook a soup for my family and took her words to heart. February has been a tough month for my family. It was a month we had been looking forward to, had been working towards, and rather than being the uplifting month we were anticipating, it quickly became the month that tore us down. I say this with the privilege of still having all of my loved ones around me, the comfort of my home, and financial stability, but the physical and mental exhaustion that had already been building up over the last year broke us down to a new level this month. But what is it they say? After every storm comes a rainbow? We have both weathered much larger storms than this one. It's what I love about our relationship. We were two broken pieces when we met that ended up fitting perfectly to make us whole again into a perfectly imperfect china plate. Mind you, it took a lot of time and glue for that to happen, but it's my favorite plate. One that shows our cracks and imperfections up close, but from arm's length shows our resilience to persevere together. And now we've added the most perfect teacup and saucer to our set, who despite all of our efforts, will develop a chip along the way too. So I went into cooking this meal with all these thoughts running through my head, along with the words of my sage aunt. I chopped each vegetable with love and intention while discussing Daniel Tiger with my oldest son. I did this in the morning as my kids finished breakfast, as a form of self-love for myself, alleviating stress on myself for later, and love for my family to allow more quality time with them in the evening. As I returned to the recipe in the evening, I took the time for mise en place. Every time I do this, I almost always talk myself out of it as I consider the more dishes I will have to wash, but the order and calm it brings to my cooking process makes it all worth it. Just another act of love in the process, I say. And doesn't it look nice? Not only did I infuse love in each step of my cooking process, but I welcomed my fears, frustrations, and worries to eliminate themselves through the steam emitting from my stock pot. I visualized every single emotion weighing me down, floating away, above my head and out of my home. I prayed for each of the heavy emotions of each of my family members to do the same, and soon, the soup became more than just a loving meal to feed my family's empty tummies, but became a soup to feed and renew our souls. Hey, chicken soup for the soul really does mean something. Thankfully, this meal did not need to sit and stew very long, because now is not the time for me to sit and stew on my current feelings. Just a quick little simmer, which I know how to do that too. And there you go, a home-cooked meal that does both your body and your soul good. All right, it's time for me to eat. Right. Who's O?
Oh, the owl.
Oh, the owl. Do you think his name starts with O? Do you think owl starts with O?
I find the owl. You're going to Carolina kitty cat. I'm going to see her.
Oh, she's a good friend, isn't she?
Carolina kitty.
Nice.
Hi, I'm in your cuckoo baby.
You are a cuckoo baby.
Cuckoo baby. Look at me.
Oh my gosh, you are so funny.